Others are doing it like for the third, fourth time. All of us are doing this for the very first time. Trust you me. All right. So then I'll be able to introduce what we call key limiting factor, still under CVP analysis. Key limiting factor is very, very popular. Key limiting factor, key limiting factor. Key limiting factor, I don't know whether there is anybody who is able to remember this concept of key limiting factor from your management accounting. Yeah, we are getting it here, and it's very, very popular with your examiner. So a key limiting factor is basically a scarce resource. This is a scarce resource. This is a scarce resource. A scarce resource. It's a scarce resource that prevents an organization from producing the maximum number of units demanded. The maximum number of units demanded. It's a scarce resource that puts a ceiling on this organization, which makes this organization not to produce the maximum number of units than what you demand, maximum number of units demanded. Key limiting factor. Ladies and gentlemen, the most important thing you're supposed to remember about key limiting factor are the basic steps. The basic steps. So number one, you have to identify the key limiting factor. You identify the key limiting factor. It's normally one. Identify the key limiting factor. Once you've identified it, number two, go ahead and calculate CM. Go ahead and calculate CM. CM stands for contribution margin. CM stands for contribution margin. And if you remember contribution margin, we normally get this by taking price minus variable cost. Price minus variable cost. After that, ladies and gentlemen, step number three, you shall calculate CM per unit of scarce resource. Per unit of scarce resource. You calculate CM per unit of scarce resource. Then number four, you rank the products. Then number five, lastly, you prepare, in this case here, the optimal production schedule. You prepare the optimal production schedule. Which now takes us to a past paper question, which is April 2022, question number 2A. April 2022, question number 2A. Once you get that question, please put your thumbs up like this. April 2022, question number 2A. April 2022, question number 2A. And once you get it, if possible, please, Henry, share it in the group. Please share it in the group. Thank you very much, Lillian. Zinc Limited, yes, Zinc Limited. I hope some good ninja has been able to share the group. Thank you so much. I hope some good ninja has been able to share this in the group. Thank you so much. So we are told Zinc Limited is a local manufacturer of three products, namely X, Y, and Z. The management of the company is unhappy with the current production mix and is seeking advice on the most optimal arrangement. The current production is given there 10,000 units of X, 5,000 units of Y, and 6,000 units of Z. That's current production. The management accountant has provided the following information relating to the three products. You can see additional information there. Each type of product passes through three departments in which a different type of labor is used. the labor requirement in each department are given below. You can see departments 1 to 3, rate per hour, labor requirements per unit. Oh, somebody has not yet shared. Yeah, I'll have to wait a little bit until somebody shares. A good ninja should be able to share this question on the group here. And of course, I know that there are new students who want to join RCM. Do not hesitate. Please call us here for advanced MA, advanced FM, BDA. Please talk to us. Talk to us. Talk to us. Please talk to us. That's our number 0719 525,000. Shared. Shared. Oh, same paper. It's the same paper. It's the same paper. All right. All right. So we have here additional information. Each type of product passes through 3 departments in which a different type of labor is used. So we have your labor requirements in each department. Look at note number 2. There is shortage of labor in department number 2. There is shortage of labor in department. So there is a scarce resource, which is labor of department 2. And it's not possible to increase labor input hours beyond the level currently utilized. So I'm so happy because I can see I have one scarce resource, and that one scarce resource is what we shall call our key limiting factor. Our key limiting factor. Fixed overheads are budgeted there. And then number 4, a recent market survey disclosed that the maximum sales potential for the company is 12,500, 7,500 for Y, and 8,000 units for Z. This was really a great examiner. So advise the management of Zinc Limited on the most profitable production mix and optimal profit using limiting factor analysis. Using limiting factor. So already we have identified the key limiting factor. We know that these are Department 2 labor hours. Department 2 labor hours. So there is a key limiting factor. And if there is a key limiting factor, then hooray, I will get on without knowing what I'm doing. I will come here and prepare a table, a nice table, regarding my 3 products. So I have X, we have Y, we have Z, like that. So we shall start with price. So is there somebody who is able to see the selling price? The selling price given up there. Because I want to get contribution margin, which is price minus variable cost. Price minus variable cost. So are you able to see the selling price, ladies and gentlemen? Abracadabra, selling price, it's up there. First table, 1,200. 1,200. Then we have in this case here 2,000. 2,000. Then we have in this case here Z, which is 22.15, like that. So we less variable cost. Variable cost. Of course, any expenditure which is direct expenses are variable, of which I'm able to see direct materials. So direct material cost, I can see per unit 300. 300. I can see 900. 900. I can see 600. All variable expenditure must be subtracted when I'm getting contribution margin. I can see we have variable overheads. So variable overheads, what do we have? 150, 400. So we have here 150, 400. 150, 400. And then we have 450. Let me, good students, ask you a question. Do we have any other variable expenditure which has already been factored in there? Is there somebody who is able to talk about any other variable expenditure you think? Labor. Thank you very much, Kezaya. So we have in this case here labor. Yes. The way I was taught this management accounting, I was told that always whenever you think about variable expenditure, variable expenses, which we also call for primary, there are labor, materials, and then variable overheads. There are 3. We have material costs, normally variable, labor, and then what we call variable overheads. Variable overheads. So already we have encountered the variable overheads. We have material, so you need to come and give us labor costs. Labor costs, there are 3 departments. So we have department number 1. So you can see in note number 1, each type of product passes through 3 departments in which a different type of labor is used. The labor requirements in each department are given below. So they have given me there, department 1 to 3, we have rate per hour, and then we have labor requirements per unit in terms of hours. So like for example, department 1, X is 3. So I know in this case, department 1, I know the labor cost will be 60, labor cost will be 80, labor cost will be 120. Is there someone who is able to see where I've gotten those figures from? Oh yeah, kama ukiangalia hapa, wameniambia department. Tuko na 1, 2, 3. Abracadabra, we have our 3 products X, Y, and Z. So you can see they have given us labor hours. These are 3 hours, these are 4 hours, and these are 6. Unfortunately, they have told me that in terms of valuing the department 1 labor cost, they have a labor rate, which in this case, you can see labor rate is 20 per hour. And you can now see these are hours. So 3 hours, and each is going for 20, each is going for 20, each is going for 20. Like, that's how I was able to get these figures of 60, 80, and 120. Are we there, ladies and gentlemen, all of us? Is there somebody who is able to follow now what Mwalimu is doing? Because I have to convert those hours to money. I have to convert those hours to money. I must convert those hours to money. All right. Thank you so much. Then you will come and do the same for department number 2. So department number 2, now we should be able to enjoy quite a lot because it's all the hours given there times 40. Yeah. So like 1 times 40 is 40. Then we have department 2, I can see 2.5 times 40. 2.5 to 100. 100. Then we have there 4 times 40, giving me 160. 160 like that. I just want to get all the labor. I want to get all the labor costs for these products here. So then they have to go through department 3. So department 3, I can see the labor per hour is 30. So 30 times 5 is 150. So this is 150. 30 times 7 is 210. Then we have here 30 times 9. So go ahead and subtract all these expenditures, from the variable expenses, from the selling prices, for you to give us the contribution margin, which is selling price minus all variable costs. Minus all variable costs. All right. So then what we need to do is to come here and give our examiner contribution margin, which is selling price minus all these expenses. And I can see Ataki has given me 500, 310, that's Pataki Evans, and 650 respectively. So all of us are in agreement with these figures? Yeah, thank you so much. So that's step number 2. We have identified the scarce resource exists. Then step number 2, we have been able to get contribution margin. So then what we're going to do here, having gotten the contribution margin of 500, then we have 310, then we have 650. So now we want to get contribution margin per unit of the scarce resource. So do we know what the scarce resource is? We call it key limiting factor. So key limiting factor, these basically are department 2 labor hours per unit. Department 2 labor hours per unit, if I look at this second table given, they have given me department, not 1, not 3, but department 2. I can see labor hours for each one of them. So I can see department 2 labor hours here is 1. Here we have 2.5 for department 2. And then here we have got what here? 4. So all of us, are we able to see these figures from the second table? Yeah. Thank you very much, Keziah. Great. So we want to get, in this case here, the CM per key limiting factor. CM per key limiting factor. The CM per key limiting factor. The contribution margin per key limiting. I mean, you take these numbers, you divide. You divide them. So this will be 500. I don't know what 310 divided by 2.5 will be. 124, I'm told. 124, I'm told. And then we have 650 divided by 4. 650 divided by 4. This gives me 162.5. 162.5. Then what do we do with this key, or rather, what do we do with this contribution margin per key limiting factor? What do we do with it? We use this to rank. So go ahead and provide the ranks. So of course, in this case here, ranking, this will take number 1, this takes number 2, this takes number, they had a better remember, number 3. Number 3. Now, after you rank like that, the last step, you shall go ahead and give us the optimal production schedule. You give us the optimal production schedule. But for us to be able to do that, ladies and gentlemen, there is one more step in between here. We must know the maximum number of hours. The maximum number of hours in department 2. This really will guide us when we are doing this maximum, rather optimal production schedule. So we need to know the maximum number of hours in department 2. So maximum number of hours in department 2, in some cases you will be given, like we have 50,000 hours available in this department. In most cases, I can see a ninja was already gotten this. In most cases, they would want you to calculate the current hours. Calculate the current hours. Current hours. How many hours are being utilized today? So remember, we have 3 products. We have X, we have Y, we have Z. So is there anybody who is able to see the current number of units? Yes. On the very first paragraph, they have given us the current production 10,000. They have given us the current production 10,000. We have, ladies and gentlemen, after 10,000, I can see 5,000 and 6,000. 5,000 and 6,000. So remember us, we are only interested in department 2. And department 2 hours, you guys gave them to me, department 2. I want to get the maximum number of hours in department 2. I know each unit in department 2 is taking this. These are the hours. So times 1, times 2.5, times 4. I want just to get the current hours that we have in department number 2. So to get these current hours, what are we doing? We are looking at the current production. What are we producing today? That's the number of units here. You know how many department 2 labor hours we need for each unit. So this one here gives me 10,000 times 1. This gives me 10,000. How about this 5,000 times 2.5? Well, 500. 12,500. 12,500. 12,500. 12,500. And then lastly, we have 24,000. 24,000. 24,000. So then these will end up giving us how many hours in total? This will end up giving me how many hours in total? 46,500. So this will end up giving us 46,500 hours. Please listen and listen to me very well. They have told us here, look at note number 2. There is shortage of labor in department 2, and it's not possible to increase labor input hours beyond the level currently utilized. So meaning that this is what we currently, in the current year, we used. Come next year, we should be having the same hours. So the current hours automatically are the available hours for us even in the future. We can't stretch more than this. So let's then, having known that these are the hours we have, let's go ahead and allocate them to our products now according to how they have been run. So in this case here, come and they give us the optimal production schedule. So we start with department 2, hours available. No, don't underline. So the hours available here, department 2, the hours available, they are 46,500. So we produce, the first product here is X. Produce X units demanded. X units demanded. So is there somebody who is able to tell me how many units of X are demanded? Anybody who is able to tell me how many units of X are demanded? Anybody who is able to tell me from note number 4? Sales potential, maximum sales potential. No, don't work with 10,000. 10,000, these are the current ones. We're looking at the future here. So produce X units demanded, or in this case here, maximum potential. Because now we are maximum potential. So X, I've started with X because X has been ranked number 1 here. So then how many units are we able to see there? 12,500. So if we use 12, if we produce 12,500, do we know how many hours each one of them will take us in department 2? Remember, you're only concerned with department 2 now. Department 2 hours, they're here, the key limiting factor. So 12,500 times 1. This gives me 12,500. You subtract to get the balance. You subtract to get the balance. So how many hours are left here for us? How many hours are left here for us? How many hours are left here for us? It's too bright, okay. How many hours are left? How many hours are left? How many hours are left? Hope that's a bit better. Hope that's a bit better. Sorry for suffering. Yeah, it's a bit better. Okay, okay, then I'll be able to repeat. But before I repeat, so remember we have department 2 labor hours available. How many are available? 46,500. And then we want to produce, in this case here, the X units demand. Remember, by definition, we know that limiting factor is that factor which prevents us from hitting the maximum potential. All right. And that is why the examiner will always give you the maximum sales potential or maximum demanded units. Maximum demanded units. All right. So if you look at note number what here? If you look at note number, if you look at note number 4. A recent market survey disclosed that the maximum sales potential for the company is 12,500. Don't use, in this case here, the current unit here, because current units are mean. There's nothing that will prevent you from hitting the current units. No. Want to look at the maximum demand or the maximum sales potential, of which you shall start with X here. Why X? Because X has been ranked number 1. So produce X units demanded, and the maximum potential for X is 12,500. And we know that each unit here takes 1 hour. So 12,500 times 1 is 12,500. So what is 46,500 minus 12,500? 46,500 minus 12,500 gives me what here? That gives me 32,000. Is it 32 or 34? 34, eh? 34,000 hours. Now, so I'm being given another opportunity of picking another product to produce. Which product do you think am I going to produce then? With now this 34. Which product? Remember, you're going, in terms of production, you're going as per the ranks. So now you can see the rank. So you produce Z. So in this case, you produce Z. Produce Z units, DD, demanded. demanded or maximum potential. So I would want, in this case here, to keep quiet a little bit and see whether you guys will be able to do it. Yeah, I can see what Nina is saying there. Yeah, that we have in this case here DD for Z from note number 4. From note number 4, it is 8,000. So I should come and take 8,000 here. I should come and take 8,000 here. I say times. I know Z hours, the key limiting factor. The Z hours are 4. So 8,000 times 4, then this gives me 32,000. Do we have some hours left? Do we have some resource left there? DD is demand. Units demanded. Units demanded. So in this case here, Z is 2,000. After Z, 2,000. Now from there, produce. Which product here, somebody? Produce. We produce which one? We produce Y. And this time around, of course, we can't afford to produce what has been demanded. So I would want to see what you guys are going to do to tell me something about Y. Let me see. Because if I try to produce Y, the ones given here, check. The ones given there for Y, they are 7,500. If I produce 7,500 of Y and it needs 2.5 Y, it will not be enough for this. So then that would mean that I come and do my abracadabra. Let the Y unit here be Y. Fortunately, I know. Fortunately, I know that Y, each is 2.5. Each is 2.5. And I know that this should be able to fit into this. That should be able to fit into that 2,000. All right. So then I'll be able to come, ladies and gentlemen, here and say 2.5y. 2.5y. 2.5y equals 2,000. How about y? It will be 2,000 divided by 2.5. So 2,000 divided by 2.5, which will end up giving me 800 units. 800 units. 800 units. So I know in this case that I'm going to produce 800 units of Y. 800 units of Y. Would consume. IE produce X 12,500 Z 8,000. Then we have Y 800. You have given your advice as a management accountant. You have given your advice as a management accountant. You have given your advice as a management accountant. All right. So I don't know whether you've been able to see how we got this available, 46,500. The department 2 hours which are available, 46,500. Were you able to see how you got them? 46,500. So if you saw how we got them, then we should be able to understand this right away. Why? Because those are the hours which are available. Those are now the hours which I would want to distribute to the maximum sales potential units, to the maximum demanded units. Yeah, from the current product mix, yes. From the current product mix, yes. So then once you have known that we have 46,500, then go ahead. I mean, you can see from note number 4. From note number 4, what are we seeing there? They've given us the maximum demanded units or the maximum sales potential. X is 12,500, 7,500 for X, and 8,000 for what here for Y, and 8,000 for Y, and 8,000 for Y. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please listen here. You see, the moment I have my key limiting factor, and then I have this maximum potential, I will never go wrong. Because what are we saying? That out of the 12,500 demanded, I know 12,500 demanded, I know the hours over X as per the rank. So X in this case is 1. So 12,500 times 1. So 12,500 hours are going to be allocated to producing X. So then take away these hours from this, you'll be able to 34,000. So then these 34,000, are they able to cover all the Z units, in this case, demanded? Yes, because Z, you can see from note number 4, Z is 8,000. And each is what here? 4 hours. So 8,000 times 4 is 32,000. So do we have enough now hours left for the other product, which is Y? We only have 2,000. So 2,000, if you're keen enough, you must realize that Y, they have recommended 7,500. And each unit of Y is going to take 2.5 hours. Can somebody in this case say, give me what is 7,500 times 2.5? What is 7,500 times 2.5? Can somebody give me those hours? There'll be too many. There will be too many. Trust you me. There will be too many. Trust you me. 18,000 out there. And yet we only have how many available now? 2,000. So then we must let the new quantity of Y to be produced to be our unknown Y. So we're asking ourselves, then how many units of Y will we produce, given that we know each one of them takes 2.5 hours? Each one of them takes 2.5 hours. So we're saying that Y times 2.5 should exactly be able to fit this 2,000. Then Y will be 2,000 divided by 2.5. That's how we got this 800. Then you go to number 2 of the question. So number 2 of the question, they want us to give them the profit statement. So number 2 of this question, they want us to give them the profit statement. How do we get this profit statement? To get profit statement, we know that profit is always a total contribution minus fixed cost. Total contribution minus fixed cost. So I have my product here. So we have X here. So X is 12,500. Do we know the contributions of X? Each unit of X is giving us this contribution margin, this 500. So X, each unit is 500. We have in this case here Z. Z, it is 8,000. So 8,000 times what here for Z? For Z, we can see the contribution margin is 650. 650. Then we have in this case here Y. Y is 800, and each unit of Y is contributing 310. So could you be kind enough by giving me these figures, my good students? Are you able to give me these figures, ladies and gentlemen? Total contributions. So I'm getting total contributions here. I'm getting contributions first of all. I'm getting contributions, which basically are CMXs. CMXs. Yeah, hatujafika kwa throughput accounting ratio. I think you guys are panicking. Hatujafika hapo bado. Hatujafika bado kwa throughput accounting ratio. Hatujafika hapo. Stop panicking. Let's move slowly. All right. We're still doing limiting factor analysis. So 12,500 times 500, that gives me what figure here, somebody? 62, 50,000. 62, 50,000. Then we go to 8,000 times 650. 5.2 million. 5.2 million. Then we go to 800 times 310. 248,000. 248,000. 248,000. Then you come and give me now the total contribution. Give me the total contribution now. Total contribution, yeah. Add. Because anytime they want us to give them profit, pi, it is total contribution minus fixed cost. So somebody give me 11,698,000. So 11,698,000. So from there we come and less fixed costs. We less fixed costs. So is there somebody who is able to see the fixed cost of this organization somewhere there? Fixed cost of this company there, it's 5 million. It's given in some note there. It's given in note number 3, fixed overheads are valued at 5 million. So 5 million. So then are you able to give me the profit to be earned? The profit to be earned here will be equal to what? $698,000. So I believe now if you go and watch this video later on, or even try to do the question yourself later on, you'll be able to understand this question now much, much better, and then you wait for it in an exam. You wait for it in an exam. You wait for it in an exam. So is that okay? Can I go now to the second part of this question? Can I go to the second part of this question where they want us to do the throughput accounting, throughput method? Throughput method. Yeah. So you can see in this case here, they wanted us, please read the question very well. Advise the management of Zinc Limited on the most profitable production mix and the optimal profit. So we have gotten the production mix and we've gotten the optimal profit using limiting factor analysis, and then number 2 using throughput accounting. Very easy. Throughput accounting. Throughput accounting. So under throughput accounting, remember, under throughput accounting, this assumes that material cost is the only variable cost, is the only variable cost that an organization has, So the only throughput expense is material cost. So if they tell you that we have labor cost and even any type of overhead, even if it's variable, even if they're calling it variable, in the long run, those expenses will become fixed. So you're saying that in the long run, labor and variable overhead cost, and the variable overhead cost will be fixed. They will no longer be throughputs. The only expenditure that will be able to pass test of time, as in throughput, throughout, will be material cost. Labor, at first you may start these workers off by paying them piece rate, because you've just begun the company. So if they make 1 chair, you pay them 1,000 maybe per chair. But as you grow as a firm, like even RCM, there's a time we used to pay our marketers per student they give us. But it reaches a point when you realize if you start giving these guys here like 1,000 per student they give you, which of course is very, very good, all right, then automatically the entire, you're going to pay a lot. It has got its fair share of advantages. But in the long term, trust you me, in the long term, labor cost will become what your periodical. Labor cost will become fixed. The only expenditure that will never, because if we were making chairs, if we are carpenters, timber per chair will always remain what you call constant. That will, in this case here, the more you produce, the more timber you need. But trust you me, it reaches a point like labor, especially when you become so huge, you've become, in this case here, highly mechanized. You realize your labor becomes now constant. Production is growing, but in this case here, your labor cost is constant because now you're using even machines. You're using machines. All right, I can see a comment here. Yeah, someone has been able to give you something there. The very good thing here is to look at this throughput. It assumes that material cost is the only variable cost that an organization has. In the long run, labor and the variable overhead cost will be what here? Will be fixed. So i.e., to get, in this case here, throughput, to get what we call the throughput contribution margin, it will be what minus what if you're following. Throughput contribution margin will be what minus what if you're following. Throughput contribution margin will be what minus what if you're following? Somebody, abracadabra. Abracadabra. Very good. Very good. Remember, it's variable, it's price minus variable cost, but our only variable cost will be material cost. Will be material cost. So then I should take price here minus material cost. Minus material. Any other cost will become what here? Any other cost will be fixed in the long term. So then up to here now, have we understood what throughput contribution margin is? All right, great. Or every other step will remain the same like the key limiting factor. Every other step will remain the same like the key limiting factor. So let's now make this. This is now very easy. Let's get the throughput contribution margin for each product. So we get what we'll be abbreviating as TCM. Whenever you see TCM, this is throughput contribution margin. So it is price minus material cost. So we have X. We have X. We have Y. X. We have Y. And then we have what here? Z. X, Y, and Z. Like that. X, Y, and Z. So are you able to see the selling price? Oh, yes. The selling price up there. The selling price up there. So the selling price that we happen to be having, ladies and gentlemen, the selling price we happen to be having up there, ladies and gentlemen, the selling price you happen to be having here, ladies and gentlemen, is 1,200, 2,000. Is 1,200, 2,000. And then Z is 2,250. Thank you very much. So we'll come and less only material costs. Material costs. So material cost, what do we have here for material cost? I can see direct materials, 300, 900, 300, 900, and then we have 600. So subtract like that. Kisha maneno, you get what we call the throughput contribution margin. So anything like labor, variable overheads, we can't subtract those ones. We can't subtract those ones. So throughput contribution margin, time is not on our side. Time is not on our side. 1,200 minus 300, this gives us what figure? $900. Thank you very much. 2,000 minus 900, this will give us what figure? 1,100. Then we have 250 minus 600. 1,650. Thank you very much. Now, from there, we have our limiting factor. Our usual limiting factor. Every other step. So we have here our key limiting factor, which is department 2, labor hours. Every other thing remains the same. Department 2 labor hours. Is there somebody who is able to pick those department 2 labor hours from the table? Second table given there. Remember not in Kenya shillings, but in hours. So department 2, so we have here 1. We have 1. We have 2.5. 1, 2.5. Then we have 4. So then you should be able to give us what we call the TCM, a key limiting factor. You divide. You divide. So divide these ones, divide them, divide them. So this is 900. So 1,100 divided by 2.5 gives me what figure? Yeah, I can see 840, 840. Is it 840 or 440? 440, I think, 440. 440. How about the last one? The last one is 50 divided by 4. Or 12.5. Then go ahead and rank. Go ahead and rank. So of course, the higher the better. The higher the better. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. 1, 2, 3. So go ahead and give us, in this case here, the maximum number of department 2 hours. We had already done this. There were 46 what here? Nothing will change there. They were 46,500. They were 46,500. Nothing will change there, 46,500. So go ahead and distribute this. So go ahead and prepare, in this case here, our optimal production schedule. Let me give you 1 minute. Optimal production schedule. Let me give you 1 minute to try the very best. Optimal. You do the allocations. You can do the allocations. So go ahead and do your allocations. These allocations, remember, you can also do them this way. So we have our 3 products. So we have X here. We have, in this case here, second ranked is Y. The third ranked is what here? The third ranked is Z. X, Y, and Z. So X, are you able to see the maximum demanded units for X? Anybody who is able to see the maximum demanded, not number 4. Maximum demand is 12,500, isn't it? So then X will be 12,500 times the key limiting factor. Key limiting factor hours for X, 1. So this will be 12,500. So now you're able to give me the balance hours. Balance here. Balance. So remember now I've used 12,500 out of this 46,500. So then how many balance hours do I have? So 46,500 minus 12,500, balance inakuja 34,000. So balance in 34,000. So at least when I go producing the second product, I know the number of hours that I have. So then I go to Y. I will ask myself why. How many units, in this case here, maximum units have been demanded. So for Y, the maximum sales potential for Y, I can see the 7,500. So 7,500. So 7,500, 7,500. Then I say times. So Y, ladies and gentlemen, I know the key limiting factor for Y. The key limiting factor for Y is 2.5. So is there someone who can do this multiplication for me? 7,500 times 2.5. What do we have there, somebody? 7,500 times 2.5. 18,750. Fortunately, 18,750 is well within. 18,750 is well within this 34,000. Is well within the 34,000. So then can you kindly give me the balance? So what is 34,000 minus this 18? So here I'm in agreement. I'm going to produce all this. So what is 34,000 minus 18,750? What is the balance there? What is the balance there? 15,250. 15,250. 15,250 like that. Then we go to Z. So Z, what do we have there for Z? When I look at Z, the maximum demanded in note number 4, the maximum for Z is 8,000. Let's try. So 8,000 times, ladies and gentlemen, in this case here for Z, I can see the key limiting factor for Z is 4. Is 4. So when I multiply like that, ladies and gentlemen, what am I able to see there? What am I able to see there? 8,000 times 4 gives me what here, somebody? That gives me a lot of time. That gives me 32,000. And I don't have 32,000. So it means I can't produce this 8,000. I must cancel this and call this Z. And then do my abracadabra. So now I have to do my abracadabra in a way that I'll be able to get that 15,250. I have to do my abracadabra then. So then how do I do this, my abracadabra? So to do my abracadabra, this is what I shall do for my abracadabra. So I will come here and say Z times 4 equals the remaining hours. They're only 15,250. Then Z alone will be 15,250 divided by 4, which will end up giving me what figure now? 3812.5. 3812.5. We have to have it like that. Or if you want to round it, you can't round it off to like 13 because the resource will not be enough. This is only mathematics. When you want to round, you have to round down. You can't round up. All right. Now from there, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, we can still produce it. We can produce it. We can produce it. Yeah, I know, of course, what you mean, but we don't want to round it off. Let it just remain like that. Nobody can penalize it there. Nobody can penalize it. Nobody can penalize you for that. Let's leave it like that. All right. So then what do we do? So the next thing, if we have some time here, is to come, ladies and gentlemen, here and produce what we call factory cost. So come and give us factory cost. Factory cost. You will give us what we call factory cost. Factory cost. So our factory cost will be all the other costs which were not factored in computations of the throughput contribution margin, all those costs. So for example, we have, of course, apart from material. So for example, we have variable overheads. Variable overheads, these were omitted. We have labor costs, these were omitted. And then of course we have our fixed overheads. All these ones here total, we call them factory cost. So then we have our three. So we have here X, we have here Y, and then lastly we have Z. So is there somebody who is able to see these variable overheads? Anybody who is able to see the variable overheads? Oh yeah, I'm alone. Variable overheads. So the variable overheads, I can see them on the first table there. We have 150. We have, ladies and gentlemen, 400. Ladies and gentlemen, we have here 450. Then labor cost, we have department 1. We shall not reinvent the wheel. Already we have these figures. We have computed the labor cost. We have computed the labor cost in the question above. Is there someone who can remember these variable costs? We have computed them. For department 1, will somebody give this to me pretty first? Department 1, yes, we have computed this. So Aisha is telling me this is 60. We have here 80, and then 20 times 6, 120. Is there someone who is able to remember this? Yeah. McKenna, I don't know where you got that one from. Yeah, it should be 60, 80, 120. And then we have department 2. So department 2, what do we have here, ladies and gentlemen? Department 2, what do we have here? 80 and 120 years. Department 2, yeah. So the first one for department 2 here is 40. So you have 40 there. Then we have, I think, 100 and 160, 100 and 160. All right. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we have department number 3. So department number 3, what do we have here for department number 3? Department number 3. So department number 3, we have 35 is 150. So we have 150, 150, 150, and then we have, ladies and gentlemen, 210, 210, and then we have 270. Please add this, all of them. So give us here variable and the labor cost per unit. Add them. So for X, how much do we have? Y, how much do we have? Z, how much do we have? Somebody here. Aisha is giving me 400 for X. Aisha, very bright. Good. Yeah. Thank you very much. 400 for X. 400 for X. Yeah, fixed costs we shall come to them. Great question. So Z is 1,000. Z is 1,000. Z is 1,000. Z is 1,000. And then Y, somebody is giving me Y 790. Y is 790. 790 like that. Now, what do you do? Remember, these costs are now taken to be fixed. And because they are fixed, they shall only be fluctuating as number of units here fluctuates. So remember that this, now when you're using this concept of factory cost, these ones here must always be multiplied with the current production. And then assumed to be constant throughout. So come and give us here the current output. Give us the current output. So are you able to see the current output? Are you able to see the current output before you bring the fixed cost somebody is asking there? The current output. Are you able to remember the current output? The current output, what do we have here for current output? 10,000. Wait, I'm alone. Current output, we have 10,000. 10,000. 10,000. Yeah, 5,000. And then what here? 6,000. Thank you very much. 6,000. So then are you able to multiply these two to be able to get, are you able to multiply these two to be able to get the total variable and the total variable and the labor costs? Is there somebody who is able to do that? So 400. So this would be 400 and then my 4 zeros like that. 4 million, I think. The first one will be 4 million. How about the second one? 790 times 5,000. 790 times 5,000. This gives us 395,000. 395. Is it 395 or 3.3950? I think it should be 3.95 million. If I'm not wrong. If I'm not wrong. Yeah, 6 million. So then are you able to give me the total? Are you able to give me the total here? 6 million. Able to give me the total? Is there somebody who can easily give me the total figure here? Anybody who is able to give me the total figure here? Anybody who is able to give me the total figure here? Anybody who is able to give me the total? So take this plus this plus this. You get 10 million plus 3 something. 13,950. That's what I mean. 950. Now it is at this point that we shall be able to add now the fixed cost. You see, the fixed cost that we have, you can't add it to the very individual products because it's lump sum. It's lump sum. It's neither here nor there, nor there. It's here. It's 5 million. So then the total factory costs. The total factory costs will be 18,950,000. 18,950,000. 18,950,000. Now listen, last step. Last step. Go ahead and give us the profit. So you know that profit should be contribution margin minus fixed cost like that. All right. So then I will be able to come here. All right. Give my examiner my products as they were ranked X, Y. Unfortunately, I round my figures. Oh, yeah. Is there somebody who can remember the quantities that we were supposed to produce there optimally? The ones that are rounded here. Optimally. The optimal quantities. Is there somebody who can remind us? 500. How about Y? 7,500. 7,500. And then this is 38. This is 38. 12.5. 38, 12.5. Now let me ask you a question. Remember, we have what we call the TCM. We have the throughput contribution margin. Is there somebody who can remind us what the throughput contribution margin was for X? Throughput contribution margin for X. Throughput, not the normal 500, the throughput contribution. So this was 900. How about Y? Throughput contribution margin for Y. Throughput. 440, yeah? Is it 440 or 1100? 1100. 1100. Remember here the rankings were X, Y, and Z. The rankings were X, Y, and Z. So 1100. And then Z lastly, we have here Z lastly 1650. 1650. So is there a good Samaritan who can go ahead and multiply for us? Any good Samaritan who can go ahead and multiply for us? 12,500 times 900. Give me a figure. Yeah, we're almost finishing. So 11,250,000. So 11,250,000. Thank you so much. How about Y? How about Y? 8250,000. So we have here 8250,000. Thank you so much. And then Z lastly, the total throughput contribution. The total throughput contribution. 6290. 6290. 6290. 625. So please come here and give me the total throughput. Give me the total throughput contribution. Give me the total throughput contribution. Total throughput contribution. 25 for the lively figure. 25, 790, 790, 625. And then I will less, don't call them fixed, but factory. This is a proper term. You will less the total factory cost, which you guys got as 18,950,000. Look at that. Then we'll be able to get the farm's profits. Profit Aisha 684, yeah, 6840, 6840, then 625, 625. Thank you, and thank you very much. These are two very key areas. If I were you, I would put the videos and the notes that I have aside and do these two questions. Otherwise, it has been a pleasure hosting you today. Looking forward to meeting you on Wednesday, 6 p.m. Bye. Great.